Alright, y'all, welcome back to the channel. Wanted to do something a little different. Obviously, you know, a big part of the channel, we like taking the boat out, going fishing and stuff. We have a nice place to store it. We've had this cover, which is a Cover Pro brand, 10 by 20 carport we bought at Harbor Freight. Going on 2 years, it'll be 2 years in May, and it's still standing here. We've had to put it back together a couple times. As you can see, the legs are a little wonky. The ropes have gotten a little tattering. Some of them broke. I had to use some different tie downs to keep it all tied down. But overall, 2 years in, and I think at the time it was $129. It's still standing, keeping the rain and as many of the leaves and junk out of the boat as we can. So I'd say for the money, that's a win. But the problem is the roof part of it is actually pretty well sturdy, but these legs being as tall as they are, that's really the downfall of it. So just want to show you guys what I plan on doing. I'm going to take this roof and put a wooden frame legs underneath it, concrete it in the ground, make it real solid, and then reinforce the roof a little bit as well, and put metal roofing over it instead of just the fabric. So the metal roofing, once it's screwed into the frame, will also help tighten everything, keep it together. I just wanted to give you a little rundown of what we started with and what we're going to do. So, alright, so as you can see, this is a 20-foot long canopy, but really you only have 3 supports per side, so you got a 10-foot span in between, which will be really far to put metal roofing on. Just because it would want to sag in the middle trying to span that far. I mean, just like the fabric's doing right now. We took the bungees off already, but even when it was tight, sometimes it would still want to hold water a little bit. So my plan was, I'm going to take these center posts. They got the T on them, which is the same one as up in the center right there. I'm going to use those to split this gap in half. And with I'll have all the extra poles from the legs I'm taking off, since they're going to be wood, and rerun new runners here in the center to make it not span so far for the metal roofing. And then since I'm going to be using these, I was just going to take the place of these and use some 1¼ PVC like plumbing fitting T's on the middle ones. We're gonna have obviously 1, 2, 3 T's, and then at the corners just do a PVC 90, and then screw all these to the top of the 4x4s and 2x4s I got running across. So that's kind of the game plan. But tonight we're just demoing the old top out, getting the pieces down, and getting it prepped out. I just picked up the roofing metal tonight, so we're going to set some posts in the ground, get it all prepped out, and I'll kind of give you a step-by-step on when we go to put it together. Alright, as you can see, we got the canopy taken down. We got, there's 2 sets of 3, or 3 sets of 2 that connected the middle to the front and the middle to the back along all 3 points. The only thing I was going to tell you guys is I was planning on making this actually 3 foot longer too, so it's 23 feet. That way, so if I decide to enclose it completely and put a door on it, the tongue on the trailer won't interfere with the door. I might have to get a swing away tongue, but I still think with the 23 foot I could get that 17-foot boat in there without any issues. So I'm going to kind of piece it together and show you how it should look like once we get it all set up and ready. And it'll probably be dark by then. We'll start working on getting the frame built tomorrow. Hand over here. Face me. Good. Alright, y'all, so we got the legs taken off. Obviously we're using these as legs. We're going to have the wooden frame for it. So this is the pieces I'm going to use to extend my center poles. Like I said, it's normally a 20-foot canopy, 20 foot by 10. I'm going to make it 23 foot by 10. So what I'm going to do is this bottom section of the legs actually has a tapered part that will slide inside the open end of another pipe. So I'm going to measure down from where that collar is, where the other pipe's going to sit, and I added 18 inches. So I'm going to put 18 inches on either side. The front half and then the back half will have an extra 18, which will give me a total of 36 inches extra. So I'm just going to take my angle grinder. I've already got my marks on here. I'm going to grind those down, slide them in there, and then once we get that done, I'll show you what we're going to do next. Alright, so I don't have them all cut yet, but I got the first extra 18-inch piece cut and slid down in that end. Like this step would not be something you have to do if you're just trying to keep it 10 by 20. That's only if you're trying to extend it like I am. You could do the same step with just the standard poles and put this this T-fitting in the center and do the same thing. But for me, since I'm extending it, I got my center mark, and this is the extra T-fitting that's going to be on the top now. I'm going to set it on here on my center mark and mark where I need to cut this pole in half, which is just past where these welds are. Because once I get this cut, these will slide in and this will stay the exact length I want. And I just got to do this for these poles for 6 times, and then we can start piecing it all back together and hopefully get it measured out and will be the right length we want to be. So we'll do a little time lapse and pick it back up when we get everything cut. All right, y'all. This is what we got after night 1. I kind of stopped filming because it was getting dark, and I knew the camera work wouldn't have been great. But we got pretty much the frame built. Might have to make a few more cuts when we get all of our fittings and stuff, but that's what it's going to look like when it's all said and done. The full length is right at 23 feet. As you can see right here, we took the fittings that were there. We're not going to use the corner pieces. We're actually just going to use a regular PVC 90 to there. And then these pieces right here I had to add for these extra lengths. Unfortunately, I had to use all the pieces that go connect inside one another for my main rails this way. So I didn't have anything to fit inside that other tube that I need to extend a little longer. So I'm going to have to get coupling for 3 of these pieces. This one, obviously that one, and then this one as well. I'll have to have a coupling for. But other than that, I'm going to have to get the PVC T's to go right here in the center, connect this to that. And once I get the T, I will make my measurement on this too and cut this. Dang, not focusing very well, but yeah, cut it where I put that T in. But we'll pick it back up. We'll get better light tomorrow. I get the rest of my fittings, and we'll see how she all goes together. All right, y'all. It's night 2 work on the project. We finally got some light left. As you can see, that's kind of the tentative frame we got going. Let me flip this camera around here a second, and we'll go over how we're going to finish the rest of the fittings to get it all tied together. Okay, went to the hardware store this morning. I brought one of the scrap pieces of pipe I had cut off. And I went through the PVC section. I thought I was going to need to use 1 1/4 PVC, but it was way too big for this. So I downsized to 1 inch PVC, which here's just a factory one. And as you can see, this pipe is just barely too big to fit in there. So came up with a solution because I want to fit in there snug. And what I've done is I've drilled this out, and now this will slide right in there and bottom out. And that's what we're going to use to hold everything together. We're also going to run some self-tapping screws through the fitting into the metal, and then once we get the structure up and this is sitting on top, we're going to bore a hole all the way through and bolt through with some 3-inch wood screws into the wood, so it'll all be held together in at least 2 spots. But in order to make these holes bigger, I'll show you what I came up with. I have a step bit from Harbor Freight. Was originally, a full step bit, But the problem was with this tip on there, it was too long, and it would work okay for the tees, except for when you're coming in this way, it would bottom out and want to drill through the back. So I cut some layers off of that, which appears to be about 4 tiers or so. Honestly, you could come all the way up to here where the full 7/8 hole is for a normal 1/2 inch knockout would probably be ideal. That way you can get this all the way down in there and ream it to where the pipe will go all the way in without punching out the other side. Like I said, the elbows were the least amount of clearance because when you went in, it wanted to come out the back side. But I'll just show you, let's take this thing in high gear and any kind of 1/2 inch drill. I just go all the way till it pretty much bottoms out on the chuck as far as it'll go. And then I just take it back in there one time, not pushing all the way in, but loosely, and just ream it out and get all the extra shavings out. And then as you can see, our test piece, it was that size now, slides right in there. So that's why I want to show you for now. I'm going to keep working on getting the rest of these buttoned up. And then when we get the rest of our pipes cut to size, we'll show the finished product with it all together. Alright y'all, the next step, I don't know if you remember, I said I was going to need to couple 3 more poles together that weren't, that didn't have the tapered end that would fit inside. So I bought some PVC couplings, but I was thinking about it. I decided to try to use one of these metal pieces instead. I'll show you right now. I'm going to have these extra corners that I'm not using. So what I did is I took my angle grinder and cut this piece off so I can use it. It's actually, the inner diameter is perfect for this to slide on both ends. And now I got it coupled together, and I'm going to use some self-tapping screws on either side to cinch that up, and now we got one straight leg. I'll come over here and show you. To match our other legs we got. Like I said, I got to do that. I already had one extra piece that worked with the tapered end, but I'm gonna have to do that for that leg and that leg as well. And then we'll have all the pieces we need. We'll start measuring and put the rest of it together. All right, y'all, we've been working at it a little longer. I'm not gonna bore you with all the specifics of measuring and make sure everything's square. That's basic carpentry, so hopefully you can at least tackle that. But here's where we're at now. We got the corners on and one screw in them, and we've cut the center T. That didn't need cut because it was already a joint, so we went ahead and put that T together. But these center ones, we're putting in an extra brace, so we have to cut a small section out of this middle bar to tie our new addition in. So we just made the same measurement there to where this pipe is on this, and laid it out. And we're going to cut a 1 inch piece out of that, which that'll put the ends of these pipes right in here where they're fully seated, and that'll line us all up and be square. So I'm going to do that real quick, piece it together, and show you what it looks like. Alright, there you can see we got all of the new fittings put in. Got it all squared up pretty decent. I'm going to do one last check to make sure all the links of all of these riser pieces are all the same, so nothing's going to get out of whack. And I know it looks a little wonky right now, but it's not sitting on level ground. There's kind of a dip right there, so once we get this thing sitting up on top of a nice level base, it ought to be pretty sweet. We'll get it all screwed together. Every little seam on any piece that's pieced together, we're going to put some screws through, and once the metal is screwed on there, it should be real sturdy. So we'll pick that part up after we get some posts set and the structure up. Alright y'all, picking back up on the carport project for the Cover Pro frame we built up over there. As you can see, we're working on getting our wooden frame built up. I won't bore you with setting posts like you would build a pole barn, you know, but just to give you an idea what we got, we set our post 23 foot 2 inches long, and that's going to give us 1.5 inches at the end so we can actually run some 2x4s up and kind of square everything off and get something to mount some boards to if we want to finish it off later. And we put out these stakes and run our straight lines, made sure everything was squared up, and set our 2 end posts, and then spread the other 2 posts out evenly between them. So right now I'm going through and about to start marking. I'm going to put my line up here with our line level and mark where they're all level and cut them all flush and start running some 2x4s across from board to board all the way around. So once we get that off, and then we'll pick back up and we'll start putting the actual frame up on top of here. Alright y'all, here's the update on the old carport project. Got all the posts set and squared up, cemented in the ground. We put these boards up around, from post to post all the way around. And then mounted the roof frame back on top. I don't know if you can see from here, but I drilled through and put a 3-inch construction screw 3 times on each section, and then I also came back, did self-tapping screws on every joint, top and bottom, to try to help, you know, make this thing as secure as possible. And really, it's pretty stout. I mean, once I get the metal roof on there, it's going to even hold it together even better. But so far, I'm liking how it's turning out. We'll show you a little update after we get some of the metal on. All right, y'all. I just kind of kept working on it. I didn't take much video the last couple of days, but I want to give you a view of the finished product after I got everything finished. As you can see right here, I put a little gable on the end. I wanted to leave it high enough so that the rub rail and the windshield will clear underneath, which has got plenty of room, but for now it's going to stay open. I might eventually do some doors on it. But like I said, I got all the metal on, and I put these little runners down the side, which my plan is these sides are right at about 6 foot tall, and I'm going to run some 6 foot fence pickets all the way down here. There might be a little air gap between, but that's kind of good because having a boat in here, if you put it in there after you wash it down, it's a little wet, you want it to dry out. But then I also, right now I don't have the fill dirt in it yet, but put these boards on the bottom to close the gaps, so when I put the dirt back in, it'll hold it all in. I was just lacking a few more. I put on across the back, and then I also did the little gable end on the back. Also, as you can see from underneath, I took these boards and I put little spacers in there to hold it apart, where as long as the rain ain't blowing completely sideways, it won't let water in, but it'll let air flow in and out, so the heat won't build in there and he'll be able to breathe a little bit. But like I said, I got the runners down this side too, so I'll be able to put my fence boards and close that off. But I think it worked out good. As you can see, I got the boat pulled in there, which was a good thing because last night was its first good test. We had a pretty good storm come through, and it didn't blow over, or it didn't look like it leaked at all. I came out here in the morning and the boat was bone dry, so it did pretty good. But as you can see, this is a Mako Pro Skiff 17. But by the time you get the motor on the back and you got the extra tongue sticking out, I'll show you right now. I probably am going to have to do a cutaway tongue if I ever put the door on it, because the tongue sticks out just that much. I was hoping maybe I wouldn't have to, but it's not that big a deal to move that jack back and cut this and then make those swing away tongues, and I'll be able to close the door. So just want to show you how it turned out. I also did a little electrical on it. I brought power in from the house over there, trenched it in, got me a little GFI receptacle, light switch, just a couple keyless fixtures and lights up there, so if we get back after dark or leaving before sunlight, we can get in the boat and get our tackle together or whatever. But just want to show you how it finished out. The one thing I am going to do to finish up is I showed you I had to seam a couple of these together right here. Once I got the roof on there, I thought it was sturdy enough, but it wanted to sag down a little bit, so I am going to reinforce these with something. I haven't decided yet. I thought maybe a piece of angle iron, because I don't want to have like a belly in there where it's going to hold water on this one and that one over there. But the rest of them are just the solid pieces, and they're sturdy as can be. And also where I got this seam right here, where the two pieces of 12'10" overlap, I got these screws poking through. I think I'm going to rip me down a thin piece of wood, like a 1x wood, to go, from side to side, and then screw those screws into that so it'll hold it tighter, and then add 2 or 3 more along, just to keep that seam a little more sturdy. I think that's would possibly be a weak spot, so I want to make sure the wind doesn't try to get in there and pick that up, or rain try to work its way through. But that's how it turned out. Alright, y'all, I hope you liked that video. I know I didn't post every single measurement or all the details, but just kind of give you an idea of what you might be able to do with one of these Harbor Freight carports to turn it into something else cool if you want to make it a little more sturdy. But thanks for watching the channel. Thanks Brooklyn for her help. She helped with a lot of the work. So thanks for watching. If you don't mind, give me a like and subscribe. Halfway There Adventures. Peace.